Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Western Herald Headlined. I'm Aidan Ralko, multimedia editor for Western Herald, and today I am joined by.
Cori Osterman, the editor-in-chief.
And Kayla Lambert, managing editor.
And if you didn't know, Western Herald Headlined is our show we have here at Western Herald, where we take a little closer look at the news we've put out, some of the stories we've written, and also just talk about some current events happening at Western and Kalamazoo. So, Cori, would you like to get us started?
I would. They can't see you, by the way.
Okay, here's everybody's who's watching or listening. Well, you can't see while you're listening, but Kayla's crocheting. Kayla's crocheting today, live on camera. And the goal of today is for Aidan Ralko to guess what Kayla is crocheting.
Yes.
I
Take a look at it now.
Right now, I would say it's a like a sleeping bag for silverware is what I
Right.
would say.
Oh,
Right.
interesting.
Okay.
We'll see.
See, I
We'll
was
see
about to
find
say
out.
I know what it is, and he's never gonna get it. But that was
pretty
a
close.
very interesting
Wow.
guess.
Okay.
Thinking outside of the box.
Well, I wouldn't say close. I'd say on the right
On the right track.
on the right track.
Yeah, on the
It's
right
something
road.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if
Gotcha.
you would like to play along and guess what Kayla's crocheting while we do the podcast, we'll let you know at the end. It's very exciting.
Yes.
In other very exciting news, oh my gosh, what's the name of the award? The
Michigan Student Broadcaster Awards.
Yes, the Michigan Student Broadcaster Awards announced their finalists, and the student media group here at Western was a finalist in 5 different categories.
Sweet.
Heck yeah. I don't know what a sweep. There are like so many categories, but we did a bunch of submissions this year. Aidan put them all together, and your name is on one of them.
Yes. I was talking about this yesterday with Cori. It's a very exciting part of kind of our process, I guess you'd say, because a lot of people are volunteers with the group. So to give them some sort of reward in a way, it's very, very cool to see. We, for our multimedia team, we got 2 nominations, one being the PSA that we made at the end of the semester. Last semester, we made a drunk driving PSA. We kind of collaborated with Bronco Studios, the AV club here at Western, and made a cool little 1-minute PSA. So that got nominated, and then one of our very own photographers / videographers, journalists, gray area, Nick, created a awesome, very interesting video, just kind of covering Moda's fall showcase. And it was good, and it got the attention of the judges, got nominated for current events, so that's very exciting. And
Yeah. Nick is also behind the camera on the ones and twos
Yes.
right
Yep.
Thank
now.
him for putting together this
Thank you,
fun
Nick.
little podcast /
Yes.
video series.
Yes, yep. We've been working together. I've been trying to, hand the podcast creation over to him, and he's doing a great job. So
Yeah. How does it feel to be like a mentor this year?
It's pretty good. It's nice to, be able to send other people to do stuff and kind of have that dynamic and watch. It's also, as like cliche or cheesy as it sounds, it's pretty cool to watch people learn new stuff and, grow a little bit.
I totally agree. I got to watch Kayla grow, and then I got to watch you grow, and now you guys are teaching other people how to do stuff and like
Crazy.
it's so
Wow.
cool to just watch the process after having been here for so long. But
It's like an ancestry tree of growth.
It
Yes,
really
the family
is.
tree of
Yes.
Western Herald.
Wow.
ew.
That's crazy. But moving on, moving into some
Wait.
of our news.
There's more awards.
Oh.
Wider was also nominated for a couple things.
Yes. Yes.
Use of social media, Wider Track of the Week. I think that's a little video series they do.
Yes.
General Manager Kelly Cooper, Program Director Katie Ahern, is that how you say it?
I believe so.
Production Director Ryan Misiak and Production Manager Daniel Hubble are all finalists in that category. And then also promotional announcement, Katie and Dan are finalists for a wider promo called Radio Cheater.
Oh yeah.
And then everybody is also a finalist for Wider's social media. So like all of their
Yes.
social media is
Yep.
being recognized as like a really cool way to run a student radio
Yes.
social media.
Yeah, I was talking to Dan yesterday about some of it, and that promotional spot that they have, the radio cheaters, that we said it's called.
Yeah.
I love that radio spot. That's a good one. I
It
don't know
is
if
a
you've
good
heard of that one
Mm-hmm.
with Katie and Dan, and Dan's cheating on Wider with another radio station.
Ah,
That's a classic. That's a good one. And the Wider Track of the Week, that series
That is a
series
good
is good.
series.
It's such a simple but good series. So it's awesome to see them get nominated for that.
it really is. And then I think you can find them on 89.1 Water FM on
yeah.
all the things if you want to see the social media and little things that they do.
Yes, exactly. Okay, now
Now we can move on.
we're jumping into the news.
To the written headlines. Well,
Yes.
partially written, published headlines, mayhaps, is the
Yes,
best way to put
we have
it.
some videos
Yes.
this week.
Yes. So I'll hand it over to Kayla.
Yeah.
Talk about our first story we've got here on the News Review podcast.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the People's March that was held on, I believe it was January 18th in downtown Kalamazoo. It was ahead of the presidential inauguration, and basically it was just a march of people who went to Bronson Park. There were over 400 marches taking place across the country, and basically it was just to advocate for democracy and justice, focusing a lot on equality, protesting censorship, not protecting it. And then focusing a lot on reproductive health, and everything that kind of falls under that umbrella. So yeah, it was a really I wasn't there, but I drove by it because I
Yeah.
was leaving downtown at the time, and I attended the Women's March last year.
Okay.
And it's very interesting, and also I feel comforting to see the Kalamazoo community come together over things that are kind of happening at both the local level, but also like the national level.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and this story was written by Elliot Verlee, our A&E editor, and yeah, it was definitely a very moving article. So yeah.
Yeah, I sort of what you said about the local and national level. It's because I saw just on my social media and things lots of people's marches
Mhm.
all across the
Yes.
nation. So to kind of see Kalamazoo and a community that's right in front of you kind of join that
Yeah.
national community, it's very, very cool to see.
Because it's very easy, I think, to forget. Like, it's obviously not easy to forget that we live in kind of like the United States and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
to bring national issues down to where
Yeah.
we are in Kalamazoo, rather than having to travel to DC or Chicago or New York to, protest these things, I
Mhm.
think is a really good way of feeling like we are making a difference in things. So yeah.
Yeah.
And last thing I'll add on that is we also had multimedia reporter Jacob Marr there, and he put together just a little video, same thing, showcasing what was going on and some of the demonstrations there. So if you want to see it in video form, we have that as well.
Yeah, head to westernherald.com to read it or watch it.
Yes.
It was such an interesting day for news media
Mm-hmm.
too, because like the local level, the national level, it was MLK Day, it was Inauguration Day. It was
Mhm.
just like I could not get off the internet
Yeah.
for like 24
Yes.
hours. It was
Yeah.
so
Yes.
interesting to see how everything was sort of coming together at the same time.
Mhm.
And then we got a nice 2 snow days in a row.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I think depending on how you're feeling about the headlines, I don't know. It depends on whether or not I think you would consider that nice. You know what I mean? For people who are like online, like
right. I meant
stalking.
the snow days were nice,
Yeah.
but
I just mean like I know it depending on like some people get overwhelmed by being
True.
stuck seeing the
True,
news all
true.
the time, you
Yeah.
know. So
Mhm.
that's a
yeah.
good point. That's what I love and that's what I do. So
Yeah.
like getting to read everything that's happening at once,
Yeah.
like the information overload, I was like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
But
I have
right.
a lot of friends who are like, ooh,
it can
this
be
is a lot of
very
headlines all at
overwhelming.
once.
It can be. And then like when we have to turn stuff around quick when the university announces a school closure and we're like,
Yes.
oh, quick, we need a reporter to write that. That happened twice. And
Yeah.
then there was a shooting downtown by the train station and we had to get someone to write that really fast.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, there's been a lot happening at the Herald.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot more happening at the national level. I can't imagine being like a journalist out there right now.
Like, when do they sleep?
They
You know?
don't.
Like,
I really don't think that they do.
oof. We stand with you, journalists, all
Mhm.
over over the
Yes.
world right now.
Get some sleep.
Yes.
Anyway.
We'll take a shift. You guys go to bed.
But yeah. So speaking of that busy week, beginning
Yeah.
of the week was MLK Day, and so to kind of commemorate or make something for the holiday, I put together a little video feature. Kind of talks about sort of the past connection with MLK and Kalamazoo,
Mhm.
his visit to Kalamazoo in 1963, and then sort of how the Kalamazoo community still, stays connected and honors his legacy. And that was a pretty fun video to make. I got to talk to Gerard, who was involved with WMUK at the time, and actually was there and broadcasted the speech for WMUK.
That is so cool.
So
Yeah.
that was pretty sweet to get his firsthand account and what it was like to be there and everything. And he's an awesome dude. So
Yeah.
shout out to Gerard if you're watching. But yeah, and then I'm not a big history guy, but when you to make something so big as Martin Luther King and all of his work, and then kind of bring it to a local, presence
Mhm.
and stuff,
Yeah.
that gets super interesting. So I've probably never been more interested in something historically than when I was making that, and that was exciting.
There's something
Yeah.
about making a piece of content like that and learning about it at the same time. That's
Yeah.
just like
Mhm.
that's part of what's interesting about journalism is that
Yeah.
maybe something that you wouldn't normally do a project on, you're now pretty well versed in because
Yeah.
you were doing what you
Mhm.
love while learning about it.
Oh yeah.
And I think also going into it with a clean slate is like you can put it into terms that other people, like you're teaching other
Yeah.
people while you're teaching yourself, and so it's like you know how to explain these things and learn about these things in the same way you want other people to learn about them.
Yeah.
So I think that makes for a really education, like a very like intentional educational experience.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I got a chance to I went down the Western Herald archives a little bit.
Yeah.
Did a little bit of
Yeah.
that.
Which is so fun.
That's a classic. They wrote quite from September to December of 1963. Those were some busy months for Western Herald. A lot
Yeah.
of stuff
Absolutely.
going on during that time. It's mentioned in the video, but they had the student, I think it was the student government at the time, had invited the governor of Mississippi, who was more of a racist governor, and he came and he talked about kind of a whole bunch of bureaucracy hoopla at the federal level. That's kind of
Yeah.
what he came and talked about. And then as a response to that, the student body also invited MLK, who came in December, which was only a couple weeks after JFK was assassinated. So
Wow.
whole lot going on in that short time, and that was interesting to go down those archives and see what they were writing about and how they wrote about it, how they worked that into their prints. So
I bet the
was
Western
very
Herald
cool.
was stressed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Especially considering that they only printed
Mhm.
print, like
Yeah.
having
Oh,
to
yeah.
create those prints in addition to publishing those stories.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's some heavy stuff to be
Yeah.
reporting
It
on.
really
So
is.
it was I was locked in reading those because it was very interesting.
That's
Very interesting
awesome.
additions to see. And also at that time the WMU had a swim team, fun fact.
Really?
Which I didn't know they ever had one, but
Huh.
and they were pretty good in the MAC swim conference, I guess. There was a whole swim conference. So as a swimmer myself, that was
Yeah, can
that
you
was
tell he
interesting.
swam in high school?
Probably not. Probably not. But yeah.
Just from your
Aidan
interest in
Ralko
it.
bringing back swimming to Western Michigan
That's so funny.
University.
Start the RSO.
Oh, there is one.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Swim
I
club.
didn't know that.
No,
Swim
it's
club.
alright.
Why are you not a member?
They swim very late at night. I don't I don't want to do that.
You're
Late
an
night
early
swim
morning
club.
swimmer.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Precisely.
Wow. Can I get a crochet check? Does it look any different?
Nope.
Aiden, thoughts?
Aiden?
Do we have a
Well, it
new
looks like
guest?
slipper now.
S-
A little bit.
It's
Okay.
kinda, it's you'll find out.
Okay.
We've got
All right.
from
Let me show
I'm
the
gonna
camera.
keep
A
thinking.
utensil
I'm gonna
holder?
keep thinking.
to a slipper.
It depending on how you hold it, I feel like it could be either or.
Well,
Okay.
why don't you hold it how it's meant to go?
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
I
not
see
what
it.
I was thinking you would do, to be honest. But
I'm
you
gonna
know,
keep thinking.
okay.
I might get there. I
Yes.
might get there. But
I believe in you.
we have more stories. Cori,
We do.
would you care to elaborate?
Opening night of Disney's The Lion King is
Dang.
coming up. It's a Broadway musical.
Mhm.
It's gonna be at the auditorium. It's one of our, I think it's part of, I don't remember the Zang program.
The Zang,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
My computer won't load.
Oh
Yeah.
dear.
I think
I've got it open if you would like to.
I got it.
Okay.
I know that the Lion King. I can't remember the exact number, but I know it's won a lot of Tonys.
6.
There you go. 6
6
Tony
Tonys,
Awards.
72 theater awards internationally.
Wow.
And it opens at Miller Auditorium Wednesday, January 29th at 7:30 p.m.
That's exciting. That's they've had some great shows there. I know my freshman year I went and saw Anastasia, I believe is what it's called. I went
That's a good one.
I went and saw that one. That's sadly the only like one of the larger touring productions I've seen at Miller.
Oh my gosh. Shout out to my little brother who will be in the Brighton High School production of Anastasia in a couple weeks.
There you go. That's
and
awesome.
Brighton has a good theater program too.
They do.
That's awesome. But I believe students get 50% tickets. So if you're interested in The Lion King, I know that one was on Broadway for a while.
That's a
one
big
that
one.
A lot of people are excited about.
I'm going to try to go.
It's so exciting that we get the opportunity here on our campus to go
Right.
see Broadway shows. You know, it's like, especially for students who live on campus, I feel like it's a great opportunity for them to just like be able to walk and see something that's won, 6 Tonys and 72 awards internationally.
Yeah.
Miller's beautiful too.
Yeah.
Just like it's a really cool place to go see something.
Yeah.
It's just like it's right there.
Yeah. And not only like do they have a lot of great theater productions, but just some good singular acts as well.
Yeah.
My freshman year, Joe Gatto was here from Impractical Jokers, and I remember walking down to Miller to go see Joe Gatto.
You went to go see it?
I did.
That's awesome.
Well, because actually, someone who lived on my floor in my pod, he like heard that Joe Gatto was in Kalamazoo just walking around. So him and his roommate drove around Kalamazoo looking for him, and then they ran into him.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And so they got pictures with them and everything.
And where did they find him?
Just walking around. He was just doing. He was just at the Kalamazoo Mall doing Joe Gatto stuff, and so
funny.
they met him, and then he gave them free tickets. He gave them 3 tickets, and they gave one to me so that I could go.
This is not your sign to stalk celebrities, but that's a pretty cool story.
Yeah.
I also love the student productions. Sorry to cut you off. Of all of the plays. I've seen the play Where Everything Goes Wrong, Clue, and the SpongeBob musical, all student productions in the smaller auditorium. They were all phenomenal.
Yep.
Like, we have a great theater program here.
We sure do.
And I was going to say, too, the CAB spring shows.
Yes.
The spring concerts that they put on.
Yep.
Also really exciting opportunities for us. Like, Western Herald got to interview. I got to interview, and Aidan was there as well. Interviewed the Neon Trees last spring.
Oh,
yes, you did. And that was award nominated as well.
Yeah.
Bang.
We do good stuff over here.
That was awesome. But I wanted to ask, in the spirit of Lion King being around, what is your guys' favorite Disney movie?
That's a tough question. There's a lot of really good Disney movies. I was like such a movie kid too, so I watched all of them more than once for sure. I have to go with Alice in Wonderland.
Ooh,
I have like
solid.
it's a really old one, but there's something about it that just like gets me. It's whimsical. I have a teacup tattoo on my arm just because I love Alice in Wonderland and
dedicated to the brand
so much. Yeah, there's just something about it.
Wow.
And also Lilo and Stitch is really good.
Okay. All right, Kayla.
Earlier we were talking about it, and I initially said Girl versus Monster because I think that's a very funny response. But I think now that I'm rethinking it, Teen Beach Movie.
Oh,
iconic. Jordan Fisher's, kind of like openings.
That one's pretty good.
Yeah. So
how could we forget?
Yeah, I know it's a Disney Channel original, but I gotta stand by it.
A lot of people will sadly let that movie kind of slip under the radar, and I think it's because of that Disney Channel original tag.
Yeah.
But I do think, a slightly bigger budget, they could have took that movie to theaters, I believe.
Yeah.
I totally agree. That's a good one. The music's great.
Yeah.
The dancing's fun. Slept on. My favorite Disney Channel.
Honestly.
Yeah. My favorite Disney Channel original movie is probably Lemonade Mouth, though.
Ooh,
oh, that one's good too.
Solid.
That one's good too.
Lemonade Mouth
that,
is fire.
That cast is also stacked.
Wow. Lemonade Mouth feels like a Netflix movie, but sadly it's owned by Disney. Like I feel like it just like belongs on Netflix when I think
That's
of Lemonade
fair.
Mouth. But
And Aidan, what about you?
So mine, technically, if you want to get real technical, you could be like, oh, it's Pixar, but it was made after the Disney Pixar merger. So
Okay.
I'm going with Toy Story 3
Okay.
because that one, when that movie came out, I believe it was 2014. That movie came out. I was 10 years old. God, I would walk around my neighborhood dressed as Woody, and I would
Aw.
I'd walk around my house dressed as Woody. I'd follow the ground when people came by. It was
That's so cute.
It was so good.
This
It's such
is
a good movie.
Not the first time I've heard Aidan talk about Toy Story.
Well, and when
3.
you watch that movie front to back, there are few things wrong with that movie. Fantastic plot structure, great, conflict, and then the ending resolution. It does not get better when you take into account the two movies that came prior. It does not get better in terms of ending a movie, and not only ending a movie, but a trilogy.
Wow.
And I understand they made a fourth, and not a lot of people like that.
Did we ignore the fourth, or do you like it?
I still like that, and I wouldn't ignore it, but not nearly as good as that trilogy as a whole.
It makes you cry too. It
It does.
It does, 'cause it's good.
genuinely
That
get
one
emotional.
gets you.
Because those movies were made throughout our childhood.
That's
you know
true.
what I mean? It felt like something that was never gonna end.
Yeah, and by the time that the last couple came out, and there was this, it's like getting rid of your toys and growing
we
up,
were
I was
getting
like,
rid of our toys.
oh,
Flawless
that's how old I am.
Yes.
Flawless execution doesn't get better than that.
Really good.
Yeah.
And Lotto's a great villain.
Do you have a favorite Disney Channel movie?
My favorite Disney Channel movie, it's a tough one. That's a tough one. I think, when the Wizards of Waverly Place movie came out,
Yeah.
Iconic.
I was knee deep in that.
Solid.
I was sat in front of the TV for hours waiting for the premiere. I had it planned out and marked down. I was gonna be seated for the premiere of that movie.
That's how I
And
felt
then
about High School
they
Musical
had
too.
a contest afterwards where you could enter to win Alex Russo's wand,
Whoa.
Wow.
and I entered to win, and I sadly didn't win. But
Darn.
I wonder
really
if anybody ever won.
I really wanted to win that wand. So, but
And now we know what to get Aidan Ralko for
yep,
the end of the year.
yep.
His end of
That's
year
very
gift.
true.
Alex Russo's wand.
Mhm.
That would be fantastic.
We're gonna track it down for you,
Yeah.
like
And
the journalists
then-
we are.
To move forward a little bit, one of our last things we'll talk about is our Meet the Herald show.
Whoa.
If you have not watched that, it's a little show that I throw together where you can meet people from the editorial board, kind of learn their journey through the RSO, how they got to where they are, and what their experience has been like. And we had an episode go out last week featuring Kayla, our managing editor. Kayla, would you care to, touch a little bit on, your journey through Western Herald and what it's
Yeah.
been like so far?
Yeah, it was honestly joining really scared me, but joining anything really scares me. I talk about this in the video, but I didn't have a ton of friends. I had friends. I had friends, but I didn't have. They were all singular and randomly put throughout campus, and I didn't have a group. And so I saw a Western Herald sticker on someone's laptop. And I decided that I was going to join. I wandered through fonts for about an hour after the previous editor-in-chief emailed me some vague instructions.
Everyone's story begins.
Yes. If you didn't know, Font Student Services is where Western Herald and Wider
It's amazing.
used to be housed.
Yeah.
And basically, it was just this really weird basement inside of the Student Services building. And you had to go through a back door to get there, and it was really weird, and it was kind of scary. Everyone I've talked to has kind of been like, we thought this was like a human trafficking stunt.
Working title of my memoir, Lost in Fonts.
Yes, I love that. But yeah, and I walked in. Cori went with me. I think it was a WSA meeting was the first thing that we went to, and you had me write. You had me write
way to get started.
A little story based on one part of the WSA meeting, and then you were like, "We'll publish this," and I was like, "Okay, sure."
There you go. It's a good training exercise.
I was just doing whatever.
Yeah, and I love you for that, Cori.
Thank you.
But yeah, it was real. And I remember when I applied, lead news reporter was my first editorial board position, and I applied, and I was like, "There's no way they're gonna give me this." I was like, "I don't deserve this," and then I got it.
Bang.
So that just goes to show.
Yeah.
There you go.
Apply,
Yeah.
do, and then you'll you can't regret. You can only regret not doing things.
Wow.
You know?
It's a hard quote.
Exactly.
You know?
It's a hard quote. I like that. And if you want to learn a little more about Kayla and the journey, and also about her position, managing editor, creating the prints, doing social media, doing all that graphic stuff, you can watch the video on westernherald.com or our YouTube to learn more.
And a bunch of other people have also done Meet the
Yes,
Herald
there's a
videos. I don't know how many
lot.
you've done
There's
so
a
far.
lot.
Do you have a
There's
number?
been quite a few. There's a couple I did last year with people who've come and gone, and then I've got only a handful of people left of this year's editorial board.
But the
so
question is,
Fair.
Aidan Ralko, when will we get
Yeah.
your Meet the Herald
that's
videos
a
on?
good question.
I'm
I don't
gonna
know
make
if
it.
There'll ever be one,
Yeah.
but
I'm going to make it. And I
All
want
right.
to redo on mine because I did the first one. And there was like a little bit of trial and error there
there
still.
was.
Now he's
There
got a
was.
formula down.
Yeah.
Everybody looks great. Mine was
Yours
a little.
was good too.
Mine was really good.
I think yours was good.
You're like
we s-
attacking
we
him.
I'm not
staged-
attacking
No,
him.
we staged some shots
Yeah.
for Cori's. She
Oh.
was
That
like,
was
she was
interesting.
walking through doors,
Oh, yeah.
carrying
I
newspapers.
forgot about
it
that.
was. It's a little different than the ones that we make now.
So if you
but
want to see that, it's also
Mhm.
out there.
Yes. yes. But I believe it's crochet guest time.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, Aidan, hold on.
Show
let me finish the
show me the
stitch.
progress that you've made.
Yes, let me finish this stitch.
Wow, it looks so different.
Okay, let go. It looks exactly the
It
same.
So
looks so
similar.
different.
It's just a little taller, maybe.
All right. So you told me that.
Well, if I give you like the height it's supposed to be,
Okay.
will
sure.
that help
yeah,
you?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure, sure.
So it'll be taller. It'll be like
taller.
this tall.
Okay.
It'll be the same width,
Yep.
and there will be ties on the end so you can tie it shut.
Okay. And you're telling me that silverware sleeping bag was on the right track.
It was kind of on the
No,
right track.
it was just
Similar-
a funky enough guess.
Ignore the
Similar
first-
ballpark.
ignore
Similar ballpark.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
It houses an item, if you will.
Okay.
Not a foot.
All
Not
right.
a
I'm
foot.
gonna go with bread bag. For housing bread.
Interesting.
You are so wrong, Aidan Ralko.
All right. What is it?
It is a book sleeve.
Book sleeve.
Yes.
Ugh. I could have had that. If I would have
And-
thought a little harder, I could have had that.
If you're listening or watching this, we want you to go to Western Herald on Instagram or Facebook. Message us. What should Kayla crochet next?
Yes. What
What
should she make?
What should
I
make
want
next?
a bugle sleeve. I think our
There
you
bugle
go.
needs a little
Mhm.
crochet
I'll get on
sleeve.
Or just like
that.
a little jacket for it.
I'll have to Google search
Yeah.
the pattern for it, but
Mhm.
I'm ready.
That would
There's
be-
got to be one.
That'd be very cool. And if you're not like watching this on YouTube, I don't even know what you're doing because
Yeah.
this is some
Yes.
pretty
Yeah.
interesting stuff happening in this studio. Kayla's been crocheting behind a laptop and periodically showing
secret.
us the product.
What if I told you there's like 4 more projects behind this laptop? Just kidding. I'm not crazy.
Our new segment. What's Kayla crocheting?
Yes. Pretty badly too.
All right.
But I believe that'll do it for this episode of Western Herald Headlined.
Indeed.
I am Aidan Ralko, your multimedia editor.
I'm Cori Osterman, editor-in-chief.
And I'm Kayla Lambert, managing editor.
And we will see you next week.
Bye.